Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash, and today I've got the pleasure of doing a review for Battle Kid Fortress of Peril. Now, this was originally released as like a sort of homebrew NES game that you could actually buy on a NES cartridge, and it was originally released way back in 2010, but it recently came out on the Xbox consoles. It's developed by Civac Games and it's published by 8-Bit Legit, and it was released onto the store on the 15th of the 4th, 2022. And I love me some retro, so I was really pleased that I was provided a code for this game. It's been on my radar a while. I love playing sort of modern versions of retro games, and I love it when people bring out games for consoles that they don't really make games for anymore. Like I say, they've been long sort of dead to those original companies. Like Nintendo don't pump out new NES games, but I always love it when people bring out like new NES and Mega Drive games. I always check them out when they're on Kickstarter and stuff like that, so it was a pleasure to jump into this. Now, if you've ever played like classic Mega Man games, you sort of know what you're going to get into here. It's got the same sort of mechanics, same sort of controls. Jumping, shooting, you've got traps and hazards to avoid, lots of enemies to shoot and kill, and basically you work your way through one sort of giant, one combined world. Basically, it's like one big level. There's loads of different bosses at the end of each section, and I believe you can actually take on the bosses in whatever order you want, basically, which I thought was pretty cool reading what I've read online. Now, the plot of the game is you basically this kid called Timmy, and you end up getting given this sort of like super suit that can make you fire weapons and stuff like that, and you're basically going out there to stop this guy from building a Supermech, basically, in his sort of high-tech evil fortress. So off you go, and that's it. Now, it's got those classic sort of text-based cutscenes. I thought it was really charming, to be fair. I thought it was really well done. Really reminiscent of like, it just felt like I'd just jumped back onto my NES basically, and even including those difficulty spikes. So this game is not easy in the slightest. It slapped me around for ages. It does have some crazy difficulty spikes, same as with a lot of old classic games, but you learn to get through them. Like I say, you die, you respawn, you keep going. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to keep going and trying to get to the end. Now, there is a lot of checkpoints in the game, which I was very grateful for. When you get to a checkpoint, you get all your health back as well, which is nice. Really, really helpful there. Now, the bosses as well, they were very varied, very old school, like I say, a lot of pattern-based boss fights where you just have to learn the patterns, avoid their attacks, hit them, which I thought was really cool. The story is just a sort of the generic sort of retro game of old. It's not too in-depth. It does the job. You get the basic story, you jump into the game, you beat the last boss, you get a bit more story basically, and I quite like that. Now, the button placement wasn't the best for me. There's only sort of like two buttons. You have like a jump and a shoot button, but I feel like they should have had the option to change the layout. The ones I played anyway, maybe you can change them, I'd not realised, but when I did play it, I just felt it just was a bit awkward. I feel like they should have been in a different place, but the gameplay itself was really good. The different zones, like I say, the use of the different background graphics showed the difference between the areas really well. There was some cool sort of enemy sprites and stuff like that, a good variety there. I can say I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe the game features over 500 individual rooms for you to work through. There's over 30 different enemy types. Luckily, there's also different difficulty settings, so you can go from sort of very easy, which is still pretty difficult in some sections, to sort of like hell difficulty, in my opinion. So it can be taxing, but when you do finally get through it, it is really, really fun. Now, the game is playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. and it's priced at £8.39, and I highly recommend it. It's a really fun game. Now, most of the achievements are sort of linked to beating bosses and completing the game and stuff like that, so you will have to get to the end of the game, unfortunately, to get all the achievements. But like I say, if you like your retro games, you like your sort of classic sort of 8-bit games with that cool sort of 8-bit chiptune sort of full-on soundtrack, you like sort of Mega Man games and that sort of stuff, this is a game you've got to check out. Like I say, they've done a really good job on it. It was really fun to play. I hope there's more of it to come. Like I say, more of these games on Xbox, please, because there's not enough of them and I'm going to lap them up. But that's it for this video, guys. If you've enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you soon for more content. Bye for now.